Hey guys, it's Tammy. Welcome to my channel. I missed March. I've been doing my monthly favorites and my most worn in each month ever since October of 2024. And when it came to March, I sort of let that go. Not only did I run out of time because I was on vacation, but also I did a video, and I'll link that in the cards and I'll link it in the description box as well if you want to see what I mostly wore in March, because that's mostly covered in that video. But I did kind of feel bad missing out on March, and now I'm gonna kind of do combined what I wore most in March and April. And I have to be honest, mostly I've been sampling. I have been buying more samples and trying them out, and that takes a big part of my day. So I don't really reach for my perfume collection that much through the day because I am comparing perfumes, sampling them, taking notes. So when it comes time to go to bed, I go browse through my perfume collection and I choose something for bed. So a lot of the perfumes that I've worn in March and April are sort of cozy, comforting, hug in a bottle fragrances, and I'm going to share those with you today. And also I wanted to mention that I had been doing a note per month and going through my samples with that note as the dominant note in the samples, comparing them all for a week out of each month and choosing which one I wanted to put on my wish list, or whether there even were any that I wanted to put on my wish list. So in January, I chose the note of peach. And in February, I tested rose samples for an entire week. But as for March, I chose the note of musk. And musk is one of my favorite notes. And I kind of like the fresh, soapy, clean, light, your skin but better, pillowy, fuzzy musks. And I had a lot of samples with a note of musk. So I actually had to do a little bit of prep work. I had to compare all of my musk samples because I had so many, and then choose the top 5 or 6 that I wanted to try out and actually do full wear tests on for that week. So we had Musky March and we had cozy bedtime scents. Those are basically what I wore for March and April. So in March, mostly what I wore were the fragrances that I took on my cruise. And you can check that video out if you would like. I would say the standout from the whole trip was Sweet Diamond Pink Pepper by Kayali, which I already knew was my favorite. I just had forgotten how amazing the wearing experience is for that. Vanilla Vibes, which I actually finished up, and that is by Juliette Has a Gun. I would say those were the two most memorable scents for my cruise in March. So some of the cozy bedtime scents that I've been reaching for in March and April have been, number one, Essential Parfums, the Musk. I've been talking about this for ages. I absolutely love it. It's just a very cozy, musky scent. It has lavender, but I don't really pick up much of that. I think it has ginger, which is probably what I love so much in it. It has beeswax as well. So it's thick and waxy, but musky and cozy and comforting, and I love it. And I wouldn't necessarily recommend it because it's unusual. It's not just a plain, simple musk. There's something very different to it, but I find this so cozy. Every time I choose this for bedtime, I'm glad I did, because I just feel so relaxed, so comforted. It puts a smile on my face. I love this. And I reached a lot for Vanilla Éclat by Navitus in collaboration with Chris from the Perfume Nest. I find this one is such a perfect cozy bedtime scent. And of course, it's a daytime scent as well, but it just makes me feel like I'm wearing a cozy blanket. It makes me feel warm. It's very comforting. It has that sandalwood, it has that rice note, it has coconut cream, it has caramel. It's sort of like a bedtime gourmand. It's not too gourmand, but I always enjoy reaching for this for bedtime. And you know, when I get into bed, I have at least an hour where I'm either watching YouTube videos on my iPad or I'm reading a book in bed. And it's just the perfect time for that scent to just waft all around me, and I can really focus on it. So I've really been enjoying Vanilla Éclat. I also wore Lost in a Dream by Navitus. And I actually got this body spray from a friend here on YouTube, Kathy, and she had actually participated in a little giveaway I did. It was a video that not very many people watched. And at the end of the video, I asked if anyone would like to have a sample of this fragrance that I love on my husband, and she did. So I sent her that, and I sent her some other samples and some other goodies with it. And she was so sweet to send me back a little package with samples, which I'm still going through, and this bottle of Lost in a Dream by Navitus. And she knew it's one of my favorites. And this body spray of Lost in a Dream is so strong. I can't even imagine that it's any less strong than the perfume, because it's so strong, it's so beautiful. It got compliments from my husband. It's a very lactonic, sort of caramel, cozy, woody, nutty sort of smell. It reminds me a lot of commodity milk bold, that sort of smell. So this was a really nice one to wear. Another one that I reached for the other night is one that I've actually been contemplating whether or not to declutter. And I'm still not sure. After wearing it to bed, I enjoyed it, but it really stuck around on my nightie. And it kind of, the next night I was like, oh, you know, I'm kind of tired of this. I have to switch my nightie. And this is Guess Seductive Noir. And it's almost a chocolatey smelling fragrance to me. I don't know if there's chocolate in it or not. I am going to do a declutter soon. And I think if it came down to either this or Nero Assoluto by Roberto Cavalli, I think I'm going to try that one sometime at bedtime and compare them and see which one would stay, because they're very close. They're very close to each other. They have sort of that ebony wood, mahogany wood, deep woody smell that almost turns chocolatey. And I mean, it has a little bit of sweetness, like a chocolatey or vanilla sweetness, and it's very powdery. I kind of enjoy wearing it to bed, but I didn't really want to wear it another night. So I'm still not sure if I'm going to declutter this, but I mean, this is a good one. It's so affordable, but I don't know. It's on the chopping block, actually. Another one that's on the chopping block is the one that I wore to bed last night. And when I hauled this for you guys, I told you that I wasn't so sure about it. It didn't smell quite like it did when I tried it in store. When I got home, I was getting a lot of almost a fennel or aniseed, licoricey sort of hint to it. And this is Musk Nude by Narciso Rodriguez. I would keep it just for the bottle, but when I wore it to bed last night, I did not enjoy it at all. It annoyed the heck out of me. The powderiness I would expect from a Narciso Rodriguez scent, of course, but there's just something about that little hint of licorice, aniseed, fennel vibe that it's just I'm not liking it, and I have let it sit, and I was hoping when I came back to it I would like it more, but I'm liking it less. So this one is on the chopping block too. I have been wearing my new Glossier You Fleur to bed quite often. I've worn it once through the day, but I've worn it a couple times at night, like to bed. I'm going to use up this travel size, but as I just mentioned in my previous video, I'm probably not going to purchase a full bottle of it. It does have a little bit of a minty toothpaste breath vibe to it, and I don't know where that is coming from. I did not pick that up at all in the store when I tried it. And it's not so much on skin, it's more smelling it straight from the bottle and smelling it like when I just sprayed it into the air like that. I just picked it up right now. Yeah, it has a little bit of a minty toothpaste vibe to it. But I don't dislike it. It's quite nice, and I'm going to use up the bottle. It's a soft, cozy, your skin but better, powdery, musky scent. And I've quite been enjoying it, but it's just not a love for me, so I won't be getting a full bottle of it. Here's a couple more that I wore to bed by BYREDO Animalique, Goldea the Romanite Absolute by Bvlgari. These are a couple that I talk about a lot, so I won't go too deep into them, but they're both the cozy, sandalwoody, a little bit sweet, but more in a woody sweet type of way. I love these. They're both cozy bedtime favorites. One night I even wore Private Show by Britney Spears to bed, and this is quite cozy and pretty, and I actually quite liked it. I think it has coffee in it and some fruits, and so it's an interesting combination. This wasn't bad. This was kind of a fun one to wear to bed. Now, all winter I kept talking about how I had been wanting to wear Dior Addict, and I just hadn't worn it. I just had not picked it up. So I was thinking maybe this will be on the chopping block too, because why aren't I reaching for such a gorgeous scent that pretty much everyone loves? It's a beautiful vanilla with a lot of florals. It's really pretty. So I finally did wear it, and my husband complimented me on it. He really, really liked it. He's like, that is really pretty. That's gorgeous. So, you know, it's not going to be decluttered yet. I wish I felt like reaching for it more, but it's so intense. It's a real statement maker. So it's not one that I just feel like reaching for often, but for now it's staying. So this past weekend, my husband and I went out for a little coffee date, and I had just been watching one of Veronica's videos, and she was talking about Julianna's perfumes, Miss Fuchsia. And that is one of the ones that I chose when I did my little team up with Julianna's perfumes, and I chose a bundle of 4 perfumes that you could get for a better deal or whatever, and Miss Fuchsia was one of the ones I chose. It's supposed to be sort of a cross between Parfums de Marly, Oriana, and Kilian Princess. And to me, it sort of does smell like a root beer float with vanilla ice cream, but you're at this diner and the person across from you is drinking tea. So there's that little bit of freshness. You're catching kind of the steaminess of the tea, but you're getting the sweetness of the vanilla and the little sort of spiciness of the root beer. So I put this on, I got in the car, and my husband snapped his head around and he was like, wow, that smells really nice. And he mentioned it 2 or 3 times on the drive between our house and the coffee shop. He kept saying, I think this would be a real compliment getter. Like, that's really, really nice. So I was glad that I chose to wear this one. And I saw a couple people turn and look at me while we were standing in line for coffee. I wondered if they were smelling this, honestly, because I could smell it on myself. It wasn't too strong. I did spray probably, I don't know, maybe 10 sprays or so. It's not super, super strong. So I felt like okay with spraying that many sprays, but I felt good wearing it. He loved it. It was a real hit. So I also just want to tell you about a layering combo that I wore, and this is one that I actually had worn once and loved so much that I made a YouTube short about it, and I'll link that for you and I'll put it in the description box as well in case you want to check it out, because I was just crazy over it and I got this craving to wear it again, and I did, and it was just as good as I remembered. It was so good. So it's Teo Cabanel Oh La La layered with Tom Ford Rose Prick. And at the time that I came up with this layering combo, I was really so in my rose era. I still am, but I was just getting to really love rose and become obsessed with it. And I just wanted to layer every single fragrance that I wore with rose. And so I was just trying a combination of every fragrance that I owned and adding rose to it. And this combo is a stunner. It's beautiful. There's just, I don't know, there's just something about, they're both very powdery. Maybe that's why they go so well together. I mean, they smell completely different from each other. But, you know, Oh La La is so nutty and cozy and beautiful and woody. But if anything, if I would change anything, I would add rose to it. So I did. And this is beautiful. If you do get the chance to try this out, just let me know what you think, please. So I'm going to try to do a little quick summary of Musky March for you. So when I first selected all of my Musk samples, all of these and all of these, I sprayed them all out on papers and I laid them all out on the coffee table. By the way, normally I'm filming right there at the dining table with the kitchen view behind me. Do you like this setup, or do you prefer when I'm in the dining room, or, you know, let me know. So for day 1 of Musky March, I wore Diptyque L'Eau Papier. And for the first couple hours, I really couldn't smell it on myself whatsoever. But later in the day, I was catching a few whiffs when I would reach out to grab something or move in a certain way. I was actually catching the smell of just this really fresh, clean, soapy, pleasant fragrance, which is what I'm obsessed with. That's what I love. I know when I smelled it in the store on my trip to Florida, I took off the cap, smelled it from the bottle, and it was like, love, adore this. But then when I wore it and I really couldn't smell it on myself for the first couple hours, I was really thinking, maybe I better start with a decant. I'm not sure, but if I found it for a good price, I would get it. L'Eau Papier is special. It is beautiful. So soft, pretty, clean girl vibes. Love it. So for day 2, I wore Andrea Max Ceramic, but it's really so close to Bvlgari Omnia Crystalline that what I started realizing is that I have perfumes that are as good or sometimes even better than all of these samples. And the ones that I have are usually sort of more affordable perfumes. That's what I tend to have most of in my collection. And so with ceramic, I'm thinking I already have Omnia Crystalline, and that is so comparable and maybe even a little bit better to me. And I have it, I own it. So I don't really need to just go purchasing another perfume just because I love it. I do love ceramic, but I don't need it. I wore Lazy Sunday Morning on day 3, and it almost came off a little bit, I want to say masculine. I don't know if that's the right way to put it, but it wasn't as pretty as I thought it was going to be. I have worn it before, but I had totally forgotten what the wearing experience was like. And in my mind, and I didn't compare them directly, but in my mind, I was getting Ellis Brooklyn Myth vibes, and I do like that scent as well. And that one comes across. There are some soapy clean fragrances that come off a little bit masculine to me. That might not be the right way to say it, but that's just how they come across to me. Another one that comes off a little bit masculine to me is Musk Invisible by Juliette Has a Gun. So that and Myth and Lazy Sunday Morning, they all sort of have that like dry laundry powder feel to them. And I wore Arquiste Peau on day 4, and it's just so identical to Not a Perfume by Juliette Has a Gun that I don't need it. I just don't need it. Do I love it? Actually, yes, I do. I love Arquiste Peau. And it would be worth trying if you are a little bit anosmic to not a perfume. Try Arquiste Peau, because it might be made with a little bit different molecules or aroma chemicals or whatever, so you may be able to smell that a little bit better. And finally, I wore Fleur de Peau. That one I'm going to need to play around with a little bit more, because when I first spray it out, I get a lot of vegetable, you know, it smells a little bit like carrots, like vegetables. But there's something so gorgeous in the dry down of Fleur de Peau. It is the prettiest floral musky scent. It makes me feel very elegant and clean, but not just plain soapy. There's so much more interest to it. There's florals that just make it so special and so unique and sort of intriguing. So Fleur de Peau is one that someday I could see myself having, but it's not something that I want to get right away. All in all, I found that out of everything I tried, Carolina Herrera 212, which I've loved since I first smelled that one, it's the most special musk of anything. And it's mostly florals, but they come across as very musky, soapy clean florals. It's like every soapy clean, musky floral that exists all in one place. And they just blend together into this perfect, musky, fresh, pretty floral scent. So honestly, I don't need any more musky scents because I have so many that are so good already. So I just want to appreciate what I have. And so really, I didn't put anything on my wish list, but L'Eau Papier was already on my wish list, and it still is, but I would have to find it for a really good price. So thank you guys so much for joining me for my March and April recap. I'm sorry that I didn't choose a note for April, but if you have a note that you'd like to see me focus on for the month of May, just drop it in the comments. May is still a pretty cool month here where I am in Canada. April is downright raw and cold. The middle of May or so, we'll start getting just a few buds on the trees, and by the end of May, there will be leaves on the trees, but things go pretty slow up here in Canada sometimes. So thank you guys so much for watching, spending your time with me. I really appreciate it. If you don't mind, hit the like button, make sure you're subscribed, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.